आज नरक चतुर्थी है यार, घर वाले उठा देते हैं सुबह 5:30 बजे से।
What is that?
ठीक है। I don't know if you believe or not. I don't believe, but I need to follow. Is that before the Diwali day, you need to wake up before the sunrise and get ready, do shower and everything ready, and then you do puja before the sunrise. Okay. So this is a tradition before the Diwali. So your puja has to be finished before sunrise. So
इसके लिए नरक बोलते हैं ना, सुबह सुबह इतना जल्दी उठा देते हैं।
इतना जल्दी वही नरक है।
Welcome back to the channel, guys. Welcome back to Orbita. My name is Siren. Today I've got with me Mr. Abhishek Nakate, who is the founder and CEO of Zoom Abroad. Sir, namaste. Welcome to
Namaskar,
the...
sir. Namaskar.
कैसे
Thank
हो
you
सर?
very much for having me on your show. I really enjoyed your last game show, man. What an awesome idea you got.
Thank you. Adi, thank you so much. So we're going to talk about education, his company, and how the two sort of come together. Basic idea ye hai, but first of all, before we begin anything, Abhishek, could you please tell us what is Zoom Abroad and what do you guys do primarily?
Okay. So, मेरे ख्याल से if you guys have heard about any travel agents before, 10-20 साल पहले जब आपको एयर टिकट बुक करनी पड़ती थी, फ्लाइट टिकट बुक करनी पड़ती थी, किसी एक ऑफिस में जाना पड़ता था, फिर सडनली आपको रियलाइज हुआ मेक माई ट्रिप आ गया, यात्रा.com आ गया, राइट? वैसे ही था इंश्योरेंस के लिए, LIC एजेंट घर पे आते थे बेल बजा करके, राइट? फिर अचानक से पॉलिसी बाजार आ गया, राइट? So Zoom Abroad in the similar sense for the universities, पहले लोग abroad education के लिए अलग-अलग agents के पास जाते थे. Agents are like nothing but middlemen, brokers. They would try to sell you something. They made more money. So अभी Zoom Abroad आ गया. Okay, so Zoom Abroad, what it does is basically help students to choose their best fit universities globally. Okay, so आप अपना wherever you are eligible for and where you should be going, if you can, if you would know. So Zoom Abroad tells you that, okay, Sudesh, you can go to Oxford or you can go to Harvard or you can go to this, second grade university or whatever. So you know what you're eligible for, and then we help you reach there.
That's awesome. And just so you guys know, he is in the UK, or subah he's woken up before sunrise today and he's prepared for this interview. So massive props to you for that.
I might sleep in between. So excuse me.
नहीं तो वो मेरा जॉब रहता है ना सर कि मैं आपको एंगेज करके रखूं ऐसे, है ना? So tell me about how it started. Tell me about your life journey, because from what I know, it has translated from your life onto what the company stands for today. So tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean,
ये अगर ये रियलिटी शो होता ना आपका गेम शो जैसा, तो बैकग्राउंड में एक गांव का पिक्चर आता है.
अरे
मैं बता रहा हूँ. आजकल के रियलिटी शोज में ये थोड़ा सा आता है ना कि बच्चे का बैकग्राउंड. सो मेरा इमेजिन करो कि आई वाज बोर्न इन ए प्लेस व्हिच डजंट एग्जिस्ट इन द मैप ऑफ इंडिया एनीमोर. This small town called Akash Nagar. It is in Chhattisgarh, Naxalite prone area, Dantewada district, you might have heard of. So it is a very small town of 900 people population, right? But luckily it had all the facilities because it was NMDC run, and taken care by. Sure. So I was from there, and the major problem was the exposure nahi tha. We didn't know what to do. One school, no colleges in that town. We had to travel long ago. So what we started doing is for master's or bachelor's degree, everyone has to choose a bigger city to go abroad, go somewhere, right? I chose Hyderabad to study. All right. But then from a small town like Kuएं का मेंढक, अचानक से you go to a bigger city, you started seeing clubs and you started seeing people speaking in English. I could not utter a word in English at that point, I could tell you. All right. And it was very different. And then this curiosity of a small town boy, like, okay, how's the world outside? I just saw Hyderabad and I'm so fascinated. There must be something more. I experienced everything. Like, the 3 years of my bachelor's was amazing. Okay, from parties to education to research institutions, you name it. All right. I tasted everything what could come in a student's life cycle. Then eventually I attended a webinar not webinar, it was a proper event in one of the bigger hotels where international delegates came in. So I was into a daily volunteering services, event management wale rakhte nahi hai bache. So I and my friends, we just took part in that and got exposed to this wonderful German lady who talked about, oh, you guys are studying biotechnology. I was studying biotechnology. Why don't you study over in Germany? And that was the first time somebody introduced foreign education in my mind. Like, okay, can I go and study in Germany as well? All right, amazing. So what do I need to do? And there I started exploring. So I went to various different agencies. I went to various different people. Normally, at that point, Facebook and Instagram wasn't there. So it was very difficult at that point. We are talking 2003, 2006. Around that. And finally, I zeroed down upon that I wanted to do management. So for that, I chose UK rather than Germany, and started my journey. But then the whole pain, I should say, the pain of a student who do not know anything about studying abroad, or it is difficult to find, first was information overload. कोई कुछ बताता है, कोई बोलता है उस ऑस्ट्रेलिया चले जाओ, वहां पे ये मिलेगा, कोई बताता है अरे जॉब करने के बाद स्टे बैक ऑप्शन मिल जाएगा. Somebody is like, okay, why you choosing management? You should choose science because you have studied biotechnology. So much of confusion. And end of the day, you just आंख बंद करके सिक्का उछाल करके कर लेते हो. Right? So that sort of a decision. But then I thought that was not the right way to choose your career. Luckily, I was lucky enough that my Sikka was in a right way, that I chose the right set of universities and the right set of thing. But then the whole process of choosing a university, a course, which country to go was quite draining and quite confusing. In fact, more with the time when the internet grew, the confusion still increased because there is a lot more options, right? You see like, okay, this is overloaded information, and moreover, it is scattered information. Okay. Exactly. Then the easiest way many students, in fact, today does is they go to this agency. This agency is a special kind of a creed who are sitting between the student and the university. All right. And many agencies, I'm not gonna say that the whole creed is bad, but the many agencies, they are middlemen's brokers, right? So they will suggest you where they would make more money, right? First of all, they would charge you your arm and a leg. It is very expensive, okay, depending on the agencies that you go. And then they would try to sell you something rather than advise you something where they have more commission to be made. And then you feel like pushed towards a destination. All right. And after coming to UK, I studied in Cardiff. It was great experience. But then halfway through my, degree, my master's, I realized I would have very well gone to Oxford. Okay, because I met few people in Oxford, met few people in Cambridge, from Stanford. And I was like, why didn't I choose those universities? Because the question was, I didn't even know that I could go there. I didn't even know that I was eligible. That was the biggest pain that I still have, that at least somebody should know what you're eligible for, what you can get, what is your real potential, and then that kept on going. And that's why after, other stories follow on, I thought we should do something on that. And I established my career in that. I started my first company, Local Guardian, where we help students after they arrived in the UK. Sure. Then I became I joined a German university as a director of international relations. So I worked more closely with many other schools and many other colleges and students more. So with that, I started Zoom Abroad, that I need to fill this gap of information and reach out to many Abhisheks those sitting in the small towns. All right, because these agencies would not open their offices in the smaller towns because not enough big market, and that was only possible with technology. And India was changing with Digital India, and I thought this is just the right time to start this. And in 2018, we started this journey.
Right.
And today, yeah.
Yeah, and I think you brought up a very important point, that it's only getting more and more complicated for people to understand which universities to go to, simply because there's ek to aapne information overload bola, which I 100% agree. And the other thing is, of course, where there are just those many options now, right? And the volume is sort of trying to be catered to. So it's become like a supply and demand thing, where there is so much demand, therefore there is a lot of supply as well.
And the awareness is more as well now as
Yes.
compared to the last time.
Yes, much more with a lot of exposure now. अभी globalization को ही हम अगर ये कर दे तो that is I think the biggest contributing factor in this. But Abhishek, I want to ask you, like you went through this entire struggle, and I'm sure a lot of people around you might have gone through the exact same struggle. Is there a surefire way of understanding how where to apply, which university to go to? Is there a formula to decide what's best for you in terms of your further education abroad?
Yes, there is a formula. But you mentioned that there's a lot many people just from India, 4 lakh students every year go abroad, right? So there's a huge, globally 8 million students, approximately
Right.
5 to 8 million. So it's a huge crowd. So, but very important question that you asked is there a formula to find what course to go for, right?
Right.
The formula is there, but then the implementation of the formula is with the parents or with the student. Normally, I say to the student that you have 2 circles. Okay, the one circle is what you are good at, right? And the another circle is what you like doing. Okay, the intersection between these 2 circles is exactly your career, right? That is the perfect career intersection that you're looking at.
Sure.
But then it is easier said than done. Okay, for a 19-year-old, 15-year-old, if you ask what you're good at, I'm fucking good at everything. You know, what you like doing, I like Instagram, I like TikTok. You know, but then there is a career in Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. You know, of course, that is a career. But then people need to come out of that traditional mindset कि engineer, doctor, lawyer यही बन सकते हैं, इसके अलावा कुछ भी नहीं है. So you need to open up, and I think the benefit of going abroad is opening up your mental pores to absorb new way of thinking, new way of doing things. So the formula is that you need to self-analyze, speak to a qualified advisor who would help you analyze that. There are different psychometric tests that we help students do. And then the real advisors will listen to you and understand what your strengths and weaknesses, and then probably advise you what is the way forward.
Right. And if I talk about the other way around, say how do you pick a student? So like what kind of students would a university pick for that matter? So how do we go about that?
Sure. So what Zoom Abroad does is it match makes. All right. There are students' quality and their universities' quality. The right set of students should go to the right set of universities. Otherwise, it is a unhappy situation, right? So how do we match that is, first of all, we understand what university is looking for. Ivy League, Russell Group universities requirement would be very different than the other lower ranking universities, right? So what we try to do is, let's talk about the top-notch universities. They are looking for an overall personality of a student. Academic requirement is 30 to 40% of your complete profile. So Zoom Abroad basically focuses on your overall personality of a student, which comprises of academics, sports, co-curricular activity, your language abilities, your internship, work experience, your financial capacity, and so on and so forth. You know, there are 38 different factors that our algorithm looks into. So when a student fills in a profile, the scoring system works to say that your, something like your CIBIL score, like credit score,
Sure.
Yeah, so we do a similar kind of scoring to assess the student's profile, and then we match it against the universities, what they're looking into. So writing skills are quite important, how personal statements are written, interview skills, so assessing all these different factors, we pick and choose the right student for the right university.
Right. And what has your experience been so far? How has the matchmaking process gone, and how has it been so far?
I think I'm going to be revealing something that I've never spoke to anybody before.
Sure.
But then what I felt is nobody likes to be told, and especially the student, right? If I tell a student, Sudesh, you should be doing this because of your strengths, your weaknesses, this logic, this scoring system, the student but I don't want to do this. All right. As long as the student know what he wants to do, right? So irrespective of how much that you advise to the student would follow the friend's advice. All right. We 4 together, we go to that university and that kind of, but which is fine, because I chose biotechnology at the very early stage, and then I did business, and today I run a business in technology, so completely different field.
Exactly.
So I think with personality, with time, with experience, people change their preferences, and which is fine. So it doesn't have to happen that if you studied geography, you have to be a geologist. All right. Or if you studied business, you only have to do a business. So it doesn't work that way. You can do the best guess possible at that age. All right. You can provide all the logics, all the tool to make the right decision. And then basis that you make a best guess, and that is the student's decision. And I don't think it should be influenced by parents or by the advisors. Even the advisors or the technology should present the options to them, saying that you're good in this, you are not so good in this, your interest is that, your score tells you that. So most likely, according to my AI of the algorithm, tells you that you would be more successful in this field or this university. But then end of the day, decision goes to the student where they want to go. Yeah.
Right. I want to ask a particularly important question, because I think whatever I've seen in your on your website also, you've got a beautiful article section, which, by the way, I went through, I skimmed through a few of those. So, I mean, the main point that is being brought out over there is living abroad while studying. Like that is a huge factor. I think even when you might encounter parents and students, it's a huge factor in trying to understand which university to go to, even within the same geographical space, which university to go to based on living conditions. And the problem is, I feel like in India, because of exposure only being limited, or exposure not being as available to, say, tier 2, tier 3 cities, maybe even the rural sectors, people don't have the right set of expectations when they go into an international education setup. So, I mean, what are the things that one should think about in terms of just living and stuff like that when they're planning to study abroad?
So the very first thing that you have to do to go to any different setup outside your comfort zone, which education abroad is, you need to unlearn many things that you have learned. All right. And many of us are not aware of this terminology. If we are aware of this terminology, we do not know how to implement it. Unlearning, first of all, opens up the new opportunity of learning and questioning your own beliefs. All right. So many things in Indian culture, which is wrong, you would find in UK is so normal, and vice versa, right? So you have to be, first of all, very open about it. And I think studying abroad, the major thing when I say why should somebody study abroad is exposure, right? Exposure to the local culture, exposure to understand, not only because international student, not only you're learning the culture from UK, you're learning the culture from Europe, from America, from Vietnam, so many different mix of cultures that you're learning. So first thing, that you should be accepting and open-minded about mixing with other cultures, more importantly, rather than being in your own closed shell of 5 students that you traveled with and stick with them and come back. You might as well study in Delhi for that, right? So I think this is something that you need to be planning about. And traveling and exploring, networking is the second most important part, right? So more people that you go, and I truly believe in this proverb of network is the net worth, right? So the more people that you meet, the more knowledge that you gain, and ask. It is, many people are so shy to ask for help, or they feel it is egoistic to say, oh, I need that help. In fact, it is so open, it breaks that barrier between two people to say that, oh, you are an ex-alumni of my university. Would you please help me recommend a job, or help me with this particular problem that I'm facing for? And then can you, so I think this way of opening up, is required, and you should be mentally prepared for that to enjoy. But then other than that, you should do a lot of other fun activities. Nice. You should not be missing out. I was speaking to a gentleman yesterday, and he was like, sir, मैं पूरी जान लगा दूंगा, मैं जितने घंटे पढ़ते हैं उससे ज़्यादा पढ़ूंगा, and I will do that. Well, I never do that, man. Don't do that. Don't put yourself into that pressure of ये कर दूंगा, वो कर दूंगा. You need to relax and enjoy, because ये जो 2-3 साल का time रहेगा, this experience would not be repeated. I miss it. I feel that if I can relive that, it is so much of a fun. You the first time you would go to a club, first time you would go to a casino, probably. I'm not promoting these things, but I'm saying that you need to indulge with the local culture and the local lifestyle. eventually, and then only you will be a over-rounded personality, a well-rounded personality.
Sure, and having studied abroad, I heavily relate with this because, I mean, it was one thing or the other to be, a part of whatever activities that were being done on campus and even off campus by the campus.
Mm-hmm.
There are a lot of student societies, of course. In the US, you've got sororities and fraternities and all those different things, and I think a lot of those things sort of amount to the cultural experience that you're talking about. And yes, it's very important, I feel, in my opinion as well. Like,
So I didn't know that you studied abroad. So it
I
would be a
did.
very good example to take from you this. Um, I wasn't aware of that, first of all. Where did you study, by the way?
I was in Hong Kong. I was in Hong Kong, yeah.
Amazing, amazing. So do you think that after coming abroad, there is another sense of more oneness between Indians, irrespective of what state or, do you feel that?
Like, I was basically raised in Indonesia for, like, I don't know, like 10 years, and then I moved to Hong
Okay,
Kong. But in any
okay.
case, when I moved to Indonesia also, when I was like very young, I was 7 or 8 years old. Um, एक वो रहता था कि if you see another Indian on the street or in your surroundings, you'll be like, what? One of us. There is a sense of oneness for sure. But again, it's one of those things where, like, I've noticed a lot of Indians are not necessarily very adaptable
Yeah.
to other cultures and to more multicultural environments. So like the shift from Indonesia to Hong Kong that I made was, I think, not for me, but for most people, it would have been like a quantum leap simply because Hong Kong is like proper mixed fried rice. Like that, like
Mm.
there's a lot of cultures there, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
and they are sort of intermingling with each other because there is no other way things can sort of start working.
Mm, mm,
Despite the cultural differences, despite the cultural biases, people have to sort of come together and work and keep whatever mindsets they've got at home, because don't bring your attitude to work and don't bring your your baggage to work, sort of to say.
mhm.
So yeah, I totally relate to the fact that there's a lot of exposure, and like, as a general rule of thumb, I think like traveling anywhere improves your
Mm,
knowledge about a lot of things, because you have to leave your cultural side a little bit on the background and sort of look at things from a newer, wider perspective. And when you are able to do that, you really learn a lot. So yeah, I
Sure.
think with the university experiences that you're talking about, 100%. And yeah, the first time I went to a club, hello. The first time I went to a casino, hello. Right? Of course. But yeah, I mean, totally, it's totally a new experience. Anyway, um,
Yeah.
the other thing, of course, that a lot of Indians sort of are a little skeptical about when they're planning to, or even thinking of studying abroad, or when they see their peers um, wanting to study abroad and going to study abroad, is the money factor.
Of course.
There's huge sums that need to be invested, and you hear stories about uh, parents doing everything they can to put their kids
Mm,
in college and so on and so forth.
mm.
Uh, what is the equation? How bad is it really, or how good is it, and how much is it worth? Is one thing, but apart from that, of course, what are the scholarship opportunities? Because I think a lot of students would look for that as well.
Sure, sure. So when it comes to the funding part of it, I do not actually look at this funding, and I think many of us don't look at it as an fees. It should be looked at as an investment, and what return are you going to get out of it? All right. Think business in this. Okay. Of course, there is a learning. So return on investment is not only by money. A return on investment is by exposure, by learning actually, and basically sometimes a better career as well. In fact, most of the times. So for the UK, it differs from country to country, but for UK, if I were to tell you that, living expenses is slightly higher as compared to the other European countries if you're living in London. But if you go further north or further south from London, it reduces dramatically. But then many students, do this part-time work, which is a 20 hours per week that you're legally allowed to do. All right. In our times, there were not a lot of home-based or remote working available, right? But this now, you can do designing, you can do blogging, you can do YouTubing, you can do whatever from wherever that you are. All right. In fact, a lot of student has gone into forex trading, shares trading, taking those courses. So now things have changed completely, and this 20 hours is only for the legal requirement, right? But then the students are doing a lot of home-based work as well and getting exposure. They're getting work placements and internships in that 20 hours. All right. So what happens is you basically start to prepare your career while you're studying. Okay, you're getting an exposure. You're building that relationship with that employer, and then when your degree finishes, you have a full-time career ahead of you, right? So giving you in terms of mathematics, return on investment, normally what I have seen in my career, in 10 to 12 months, okay, you can recoup the tuition fee that you have paid. All right. So for example, if you're going to let's say an average university, a tier 2 university, where the fees is around 14,000 pounds, around 12 lakh rupees, which is not that bad. All right. 12 lakh rupees. You normally pay that in many private universities in India itself. But then in the year one after completion of your course, okay, it is a 1-year course, master's or bachelor's is 3 to 4 years. After the completion of your course, you would probably land into a minimum of 30,000 to 35,000 per annum salary bracket. And you have spent only 14 to 15,000 pounds, which is almost the half of it. So normally I should say 6 months is your return on investment, but even if you calculate your living expenses and all that, it should not go more than 12 months. Okay, so your return on investment is great, plus in terms of money, plus you would have a better exposure and better learning and a better cultural exposure. Second point is coming about how do I get even this 14, 15? That is a huge amount for many families. Right. So there are so many education loans available now in India, right? You don't even have to have a collateral meaning your house or a property to put a mortgage upon. Now there is so much of competition. HDFC, Credila, ICICI, SBI, PNB, all these major banks, okay, Oxelo, Finserv, so all these new fintech and major banks are eager to give you loans as long as you have some co-borrower. So it is perfectly affordable for a middle class to even lower middle class family in India today. All right. Second, coming up to the scholarships. All right. I think the access to scholarship has been underutilized. All right. Imagine a big pile of money kept there and nobody's touching it because you're not asking for it. All right. Many students don't even think. They think that, oh, meko kahan milega? I wouldn't get it. I have only 60%. I have got only 70%. I wouldn't get it. But then there is a scholarship available for everyone, almost everyone, I should say, depending on your gender, caste, religion, where you from, and your academic grades, your many other factors, right? We have a complete different article and a video about it, which gives different about scholarship. So the essence is planning in advance. Okay, if you do a last minute 2020, you would lose out on scholarship, you would lose out on many other stuff. Better to prepare at least a year to 6 months in advance so that you can apply to scholarships.
Lovely, lovely. So I just want to ask, if someone wants to go through Zoom Abroad, right? What is the process like? Like, what is the end-to-end process like?
Very simple. So what student can do is they go on to zoomabroad.com. Okay. There is a small, you sign up, like you create an account in Facebook or Insta, you sign up and you give us the detail, your grades, your experience, your English, IELTS, or whatever you have done. Once you have created that account, system would automatically suggest you that, okay, Sudesh, you are eligible to these universities. These courses. So you can then put different filters. I want to do computer engineering or graphic designing or whatever. And then you can compare like by like. And once you have made up your mind, you can just click apply, right? It is one click application, what we call it. And you can apply to as many universities as you want. Of course, a fair usage policy, keeping in mind, don't apply to all the 4,000 universities, but you can apply. So you have already created a profile, you have uploaded your document, and when you click apply, the application goes back to our backend team, which reviews the application and goes straight within an hour to the university. All right. And if many students, they are not sure about anything, they can always arrange an appointment with our advisors to discuss face to face, on a Zoom call, and we can help them and their parents. Sometimes we have parents coming onto Zoom call and discussing with it. But then, if you're sure about, what you want, where you want to go, the system is telling you, you can just click apply, and the rest, application tracking, your application has gone from application stage to offer letter stage. You get a notification. If it progresses, you get a link to pay the fees. So it is all automated, and it is very fast in that scenario. But although I'm saying it is all automated, we are always there as a human element to talk to or speak to with the student as well.
Of course, that sounds extremely easy.
Yeah.
Which brings me to, well, just to wrap this whole thing up, I want to ask you, your story's been quite fantastic, right? Started from
Thank you.
An area which was basically Naxal territory all the way to the UK, now running something that, let's also say, running something that you weren't necessarily qualified to start with when you were doing your biochemistry, and now you're basically doing something that really is close to your heart. What is your mantra to success? What is your advice to people who want to go through either education or for any sort of venture in life, for that matter?
Sure. What I'm going to say is going to sound a bit cliche, but it is the fact. It is the fact that unless and until you identify what you enjoy doing, and if you don't do it, okay, you will have a hard time succeeding. All right. I wouldn't say you would not succeed, but you will have a hard time. You'll have to do various iterations and all that. So I think it is irrespective, it is Diwali today, or if it is irrespective, it is Saturday or Sunday. If you're enjoying having fun doing your work, that is what you need to be doing. So let it be study. So as long as if you enjoy out of curiosity and you study that particular subject out of curiosity, कि ये chemical reaction होता कैसे है, ये mathematics problem solve कैसे होता है, how do I create this program, or what is the body parts, whatever. So as long as you have that curiosity in you to learn, I think earning comes automatically, success comes automatically.
That's lovely. You guys heard it straight from the horse's mouth. I would highly encourage you all to please go to zoomabroad.com, check out what these guys are doing. If you guys are aspiring applicants, please go there. And of course, I mean, even if you guys are not sort of applying or whatever, just if you are just intrigued by the idea of studying abroad at any particular level, right? Can be undergrad, postgrad, whatever. Go to the article section. There's some fantastic stuff written there. Please go check it out. Abhishek, thank you so much for coming. This means a lot.
All my pleasure. My pleasure. Really enjoyed talking to you and your audience.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Guys, like, share, subscribe. ये ना बार-बार बोलने की जरूरत नहीं पड़नी चाहिए, but please do like, share, subscribe.
हाँ, like इधर होता है कि इधर होता है?
उधर आपने जाके
इधर.
Right?
Guys, like and subscribe, please. Yeah.
Thank you. And I'm going to see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.